Your brain is keeping you poor. Part 1. How your own mind is sabotaging your wealth. You think you're poor because you don't make enough money. I'm going to tell you a truth that's much harder to swallow. You're poor because your brain is programmed to keep you poor. Not because you're stupid, not because you're lazy, not because you lack opportunities, but because your brain has one primary job: keep you safe, keep you comfortable, keep you exactly where you are. Wealth to your brain is not a reward. Wealth is a threat. Listen carefully. The human brain was not designed for wealth. It was designed for survival. Thousands of years ago, taking risks got you killed. Standing out from the group got you killed. Trying something new got you killed. So the brain learned a simple rule: stay still, stay alive. Change equals danger. The world evolved. Your brain didn't. When you think about investing, your brain says dangerous. When you think about starting a business, it says risky. When you think about leaving a stable job, it says stupid. When you think about learning a new skill, it says exhausting. When you think about getting rich, it says that's not for you. And you think that voice is you. It's not. It's primitive survival wiring running the show. Most people aren't poor because they lack money. They're poor because they chase short-term comfort. Your brain loves immediate rewards. It hates delayed gratification. Eat now, spend now, entertain yourself now, relaxed now. Wealth demands the opposite. Work when no one's watching. Learn when no one's forcing you. Invest before results are visible. Endure discomfort in silence. Your brain hates that. Poor people ask one familiar question: does this feel good right now? Wealthy people ask a completely different one: where will this put me 5 years from now? 2 questions, 2 lives, 2 destinies. Nobody wakes up one day and decides to be poor. They simply let their brain decide for them. And the brain always chooses the path of least pain, not the path of highest return. You think the poverty mindset is something you invented? No, you were taught it. From childhood, you heard these phrases: money isn't important. Rich people are just lucky. Get a stable job. Investing is dangerous. Business is a scam. Don't dream too big. Those words didn't just enter your ears, they embedded themselves in your subconscious. And your subconscious controls your life. Your subconscious controls what you dare to do, what you avoid, how you spend money, how you react to opportunity. You think you're logical. You're not. You're conditioned. Like a trained animal. You just call it thinking. Here's a brutal truth. The smarter someone is, the more likely they are to stay poor, because they use intelligence to justify fear. They say, I need more information. I need to be better prepared. The market isn't right. The timing is off. I'm not ready yet. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's the brain stalling action. Wealth lives in uncertainty. There is no risk-free path to riches, no investment without volatility, no business without failure. Your brain despises uncertainty. So it chooses a small, predictable paycheck, a modest, familiar life, just enough comfort to survive. And it calls that wisdom. Poor people choose small certainty. Wealthy people accept large uncertainty intelligently. Not because they're reckless, but because they understand one thing: the biggest risk is doing nothing. Your brain has another dangerous habit. It protects your old identity at all costs. If you see yourself as someone who's bad with money, not cut out for business, not meant to be wealthy, your brain will sabotage you the moment you try to rise. You procrastinate, you hesitate, you self-destruct, you retreat. Not because you're weak, because your brain is defending what's familiar, keeping you poor but comfortable instead of rich but unfamiliar. Poor people optimize for feelings. Wealthy people optimize for outcomes. Poor people ask, do I like this? Wealthy people ask, does this work? That difference is lethal. Take 2 people with the same income. One spends money to feel deserving. The other invests money to buy future freedom. 10 years later, you don't need to ask who won. Not because they earned differently, but because they made different decisions daily. And where do those decisions come from? The brain. A brain programmed incorrectly around money. You're not poor because you lack opportunity. You're poor because your brain sees opportunity as danger. You're not poor because you lack ability. You're poor because your brain clings to familiarity. If you remember one thing from this video, remember this. You don't need more motivation. You need to reprogram your brain. In the next part, I'll break down the exact psychological mechanisms destroying your financial growth, why most people never break past average income, and how wealthy individuals control their minds instead of being controlled by them. Your brain is keeping you poor. Part 2. The psychological mechanisms keeping you average. If this part makes you uncomfortable, I'll be direct. That's a good sign. The truth about money always hurts before it sets you free. In Part 1, you learned the core reality. Your brain does not care about wealth. It cares about safety. In this part, I'm going to expose the exact mechanisms your brain uses to keep you stuck at an average income level. No philosophy, no fluff, just raw truth. The first mechanism controls nearly 90% of human financial behavior. It's called pain avoidance. Your brain does not distinguish between physical pain and psychological pain. Losing money hurts. Rejection hurts. Failure hurts. Being laughed at hurts. So your brain does everything it can to avoid pain right now, even if the price is staying poor for life. When you think about learning a new skill, your brain says, exhausting. When you think about starting a business, it says, complicated. When you think about investing, it says, dangerous. When you think about changing your life, it says, later. Not because you lack intelligence, but because your brain asks only one question. Will this hurt right now? If the answer is yes, it shuts you down. Poor people don't lack ambition. They lack the ability to endure pain strategically. Wealthy people don't chase motivation. They accept pain as part of the game. The second mechanism is even more dangerous. It's called loss aversion. Your brain fears losing twice as much as it enjoys winning. Losing $1 hurts more than the pleasure of gaining $1. So when you face an opportunity, your brain doesn't calculate upside. It calculates worst-case scenarios. What if I lose money? What if I'm wrong? What if I fail? What if people laugh? And then you do nothing. Poor people focus on not losing. Wealthy people focus on not missing out. One protects what little they have. The other builds what they don't yet have. The third mechanism is destroying this generation faster than anything else. Immediate gratification. Your brain is wired to choose the closest reward, not the best reward. Scrolling gives instant dopamine. Buying something new feels good immediately. A short vacation creates the illusion of I deserve this. While investing feels like nothing. Learning feels slow. Building feels lonely. Wealth does not reward you quickly. It pays late. You don't need more money to start getting rich. You need the ability to reject small rewards for larger ones later. That's why most people never become wealthy. Not because they're poor, but because they can't tolerate delayed rewards. The fourth mechanism is social proof. Your brain hates standing out. If everyone around you lives paycheck to paycheck, your brain labels it normal. If everyone hates rich people, your brain learns to hate them too. If nobody invests, your brain decides investing is dangerous. Your brain doesn't ask, does this work? It asks, is anyone like me doing this? If you want to get rich, you must accept something most people can't handle: mental isolation. You will think differently, spend differently, invest differently, and you will be misunderstood. Your brain will constantly try to drag you back to the crowd. The fifth mechanism, and the one that keeps people poor the longest, is this: identity protection. If you see yourself as someone who's bad with money, not cut out for business, just average, your brain will defend that identity at all costs, even when you're close to success. You procrastinate, you hesitate, you sabotage your own plans, you make terrible decisions at the last minute. Not because you're foolish, but because success requires becoming someone unfamiliar, staying poor but familiar instead of rich but unknown. Here's a truth very few people accept. Most people have an invisible income ceiling. When income reaches that level, the brain panics. It senses danger. It pulls you back through higher spending, through worse decisions, through unnecessary chaos. And you call it bad luck. It's not. It's programming. Wealthy people understand this early. They don't trust emotions. They don't listen to fear. They use principles to make decisions. Wealth is not an intelligence problem. It's a psychological discipline problem. You can read every finance book ever written, but if you can't tolerate uncertainty, you'll stay broke. Listen carefully to this line. The system doesn't need you rich. It needs you functional, consuming, busy enough to not question anything. And your brain cooperates perfectly. To escape, you must act against instinct, make decisions while afraid, take action without certainty, continue without motivation, not once, but repeatedly for years. Wealthy people don't wait to feel ready. They create results first. The feelings follow. Poor people wait for feelings and never act. How the wealthy reprogram their brain to build money. If you've made it this far, let me be clear. You no longer belong to the crowd. Not because you're rich, but because you're now seeing what most people never dare to face. Here's the truth. The brain cannot be destroyed, but it can be controlled. Poor people let their brain control them. Wealthy people learn to use the brain as a tool. This final part is not motivation. It's a practical operating manual. The first principle wealthy people learn early. Never trust emotions when money is involved. Emotions evolve to keep you alive, not to build assets. Fear does not mean danger. Anxiety does not mean stop. Discomfort does not mean wrong. But poor people treat emotions as commands. Wealthy people treat them as background noise. Wealthy people don't ask, "Do I feel ready?" They ask, "What do my rules say?" Rules save you when the brain panics. For example, I invest consistently regardless of the market. I pay myself first. I don't spend money to impress people. I buy assets before lifestyle. These rules do not negotiate with emotions. The second principle: decide before you are forced to decide. When markets crash, the brain panics. When money grows fast, the brain panics too. If you haven't pre-decided, you will always decide poorly. Wealthy people write scripts for themselves. If I lose money, I do this. If I make money, I do this. If I fail, I do this. If I succeed, I do this. Because they understand one thing: a panicking brain is the enemy of wealth. The third principle: design environments so discipline is unnecessary. Discipline does not come from willpower. It comes from structure. If you need willpower not to spend, you will lose. If you need motivation to invest, you will quit. Wealthy people don't trust willpower. They trust systems. They automate what matters. Investments are automatic. Savings are automatic. Spending is constrained. The brain is not allowed to interfere. Poor people ask, "Why don't I have discipline?" Wealthy people ask, "Why am I letting my brain decide?" The fourth principle: lower emotional expectations, raise behavioral standards. Poor people need to feel good to act. Wealthy people act because it's required. Building wealth is boring.
repetitive, lonely. If you expect excitement, you've already lost. Wealthy people don't chase feelings, they chase repeatable results. The fifth principle: play the long game until emotions stop mattering. Emotions dominate short-term games. When you think in decades, today's decisions lose their emotional weight. Poor people live month to month. Wealthy people think in decades. If you know you'll be doing this for 10 years, you don't need to win today. You just need to not quit. The sixth principle: accept loneliness as the price of wealth. You will move faster than friends, think differently than family, outgrow relationships. Your brain will constantly try to pull you back. But wealthy people understand this loneliness is not a loss, it's an entry fee. The seventh principle: build the identity before the results arrive. You don't wait to have money to think like the wealthy. You think like the wealthy and money follows. I am an investor. I am a builder of assets. I play long-term games. Repeat it long enough and the brain is forced to align behavior. Poor people say, when I'm rich, I'll. Wealthy people say, because this is who I am, I. The eighth principle, critical to understand: don't try to eliminate fear. Learn to act with fear present. Fear does not disappear with money, it just changes form. The difference is simple. Wealthy people don't let fear drive. If you wait until fear is gone, you will never begin. The ninth principle: reduce decisions, increase standards. More decisions exhaust the brain. An exhausted brain chooses safety. Wealthy people simplify everything that doesn't matter to preserve energy from money decisions. Simple food, simple clothing, simple living. Not to suffer, but to focus. And the 10th and final principle: wealth is a psychological skill, not a miracle. There is no awakening moment, no magical leap, just thousands of small decisions that go against instinct. If you listen to this entire series and do nothing else, do one thing. Stop trusting your emotions when money is involved. Your brain wants you safe, but safety does not make you wealthy. Wealth belongs to those who tolerate uncertainty longer than others. You are not poor because you lack opportunity. You are poor because your brain was programmed to survive, not to prosper. And trust me, once you understand that, you are already ahead of most of the world. Subscribe and follow the channel for daily self-improvement and valuable knowledge.